Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, cha, bonjour, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hey, my name is Jedley. Welcome to Reading with Your Kids. We are beaming out to you from the beautiful, legendary neighborhood of Reedville, located in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We're so very honored and absolutely delighted that you join us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. We do that by sharing fun, thoughtful, and thought-provoking conversations with fascinating people who just happen to be writing books for kids of all ages. You can join us in our mission by telling all of your family and friends about the show and letting them know that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network, and they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, Castbox, Player FM, Amazon Music, Audible, Boomplay, Ghana. Wherever you find your favorite shows, you can find Reading with Your Kids. Two wonderful guests for you today. First up, Mayra Cuevas. She is here to celebrate My Abuela Is A Bruja. And later in the show, Janice Milusich is here to celebrate I Hear the Snow, I Smell the Sea. Hey, my friends, you know one of my favorite parts of the day is story time. There's just something magical about snuggling up with your kids, opening a great book, and escaping into an adventure together. And let me tell you, that moment becomes even more magical when you're curled up in the softest, coziest bedding you've ever felt. That's why I'm so excited that CozyEarth.com is supporting Reading with Your Kids. Their bamboo sheets, comforters, and pajamas are unbelievably soft, naturally breathable, and temperature regulating, which means no more sweaty nights or chilly toes. Right now, Cozy Earth is offering Reading with Your Kids listeners an unbelievable and exclusive 41% off their entire site. That's right, you heard me right, 41% off. So go ahead, create your own cozy reading nook, wrap yourself and your kids up in something comfy, grab your favorite bedtime book, and turn story time into the best part of your day. Head on over to CozyEarth.com and use the promo code READ at checkout to save 41%. That's CozyEarth.com, promo code READ. Hey, real quick, we want to let you know that this episode of Reading with Your Kids is brought to you by Zivo Life. ZIVO.life. Zivo Life. Hey, parents, caregivers, and book lovers, ever wish you had a little bit more zip in your step when you're reading The Very Hungry Caterpillar for the 5th or the 50th time today? Say hello to Zivo Life, your new best friend in daily wellness. Zivo Life is the world's most nutrient-dense whole plant loaded with 50% plant protein, essential amino acids, fiber, antioxidants, and so much more. It's a powerhouse in just 1 teaspoon a day, and yes, it's giving people more energy, better gut health, and even healthier skin and hair. If you want to feel more energized, focused, and vibrant during your next animated storytime performance, Zivo Life might just be your secret weapon. Visit Zivo.life, ZIVO.life, and use the promo code READ to get 30% off your order. It comes with a 30-day risk-free guarantee, and you've got nothing to lose except your sluggishness. Go now to Zivo.life and use the promo code READ and save 30%. Join us right now from right outside of Atlanta in Georgia. Our guest is here today to celebrate her absolutely beautiful picture book. Is called My Abuela Es Un Bruja. I wrote it down wrong. My Abuela Es Un Bruja. Please welcome to the show, Mayra Cuevas. Mayra, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, Jed. I am so excited to be here and to talk about my debut picture book, My Abuela Is A Bruja, and in Spanish, Mi Abuela Es Una Bruja. That recently came out to much critical acclaim. Very excited. We got 3 big starred reviews from the School Library Journal, Book List, and others. And we're just thrilled. We could be, my abuelita is thrilled. Everybody's thrilled. So it's just great news all around.
I'm really, really happy that you've gotten all that wonderful praise. As I was looking at you at the Zoom screen here, and I see you, and then I see me in my shirt, and I'm reminded this is the colors that are on my shirt are the colors that we find in your book. The book is beautifully illustrated.
Yeah, so Lorena Alvarez Gomez, she's an Eisner Award-nominated illustrator, and she brought these words to life. Her illustrations are nothing short of magical. I mean, that truly is the word. They're so infused with color, so saturated with this Caribbean flavor, this island magic. And we just worked really hard, together with our editor, Michelle Frey at Knopf at Penguin Random House, to make the story as authentic as possible and make the illustrations as authentic as possible, so that when parents read or teachers and librarians read this story with their children, they are entering an island world, and they're abiding in this island world.
Yeah. And of course, the island we're speaking about is the beautiful island of Puerto Rico, one of my favorite places in the world, one of the most beautiful parts of the United States, because sometimes we forget that Puerto Rico is a part of the United States and all of its people are citizens. And I was telling Mayra before we started, my first visit to Puerto Rico happened almost 35 years to this week on our honeymoon. And I just fell in love not only with the island, but with the people and the culture. It's truly a magical place.
It really is. And I grew up in a small town called Sabana Grande on the southwest part of the island. My grandparents on my mother's side were lettuce farmers. So just like the little girl in the story, I spent a lot of time playing in the dirt, bathing in the river, and helping my abuelita in the kitchen. And she just turned 90 years old this summer. And I recorded a little video of us and our family farm reading the book, and you can watch it on my website, mayracuevas.com. She is adorable. I love her so much, and you're going to hear me talking about her like all through the podcast. And there's a couple of pictures of her in the back of the book as well, and some recipes that I'm sharing from her.
Oh, what recipes? Pray tell.
So there's a recipe of her sofrito. So when I was a little girl, we would do this in her kitchen together. And I just have such vivid memories. And one of my favorite illustrations that Lorena just captured so beautifully is the abuelita, the grandma, and the little girl in the kitchen making the sofrito with all the ingredients in front of them. And I actually, when I went back to Puerto Rico to work on, to bring the book to my abuelita, we did the sofrito in her kitchen, so you can watch the video. And a sofrito is like a special herb magic, that is made with onions and peppers and herbs from the garden. And you can put it in beans, you can put it in soups, and it just highlights the flavor. It's got a beautiful, sophisticated, just earthiness. It brightens everything that it touches, essentially, from a culinary perspective. And it's very much rooted to our traditions, our culinary traditions in Puerto Rico. And then the second recipe is a flan recipe, because my family, we all love flan. And I have a delicious, tried and true flan recipe for flan lovers.
Awesome. Flan is delicious. Sofrito, I wish there was a way to capture that aroma in a book. We've actually had some authors who wrote books that you could smell. But it's just that it fills the house.
Yes. And I can try to give you the words it's the way that I tried to capture it in the book, because there's actually a little description, and I can read a little bit of that section. My abuela is a kitchen bruja. She mashes and blends cilantro, culantro, and ají dulce from her garden. My little fingers peel a head of garlic that we add to the sofrito, the secret of kitchen brujas. When we stir the sofrito in the guisado, it tastes like the warmth of an island sunrise. When we add it to the caldo, it tastes like lazy afternoons swaying on the hamaca.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I love it. I can smell it. Mayra,
Yes,
my
and
favorite. I was gonna say my favorite dish is sopa de pollo.
oh, a sopa de pollo. I just finished a new picture book manuscript where there's a line on a sopa de pollo, a sopa de gallina. So that is very fresh in my
All
mind
right.
right now.
All right. My cousin, every time I go down there and we visit her, and it was our last trip a couple years ago, we go in and she was so excited. She says, Jed, I have a sopa de pollo for you. And everybody with us, my daughter was there, her then fiance was there, my wife was there, my cousin's kids were there, and they were all excited to get a sopa de pollo. But then when it came to dinner, she only gave the sopa to me. She made something else for everybody else. And they were so jealous. And I go, we can share that. That's
So there's so many things to celebrate about Puerto Rico, our people, our culture. And, for me, this book is a love story. It's a poem about the bonds between this grandmother and her grandchild, but also the bonds that we have to the land, to our ancestors, to our traditions. And in this story, the little girl suspects that her abuelita, that her grandmother, she actually has actual magic because she's making everything around her, everyday things magical, from teaching the little girl how to dance salsa, to cultivating the garden, to making the sofrito and baking the flan. And the little girl wonders, will I have magic of my own one day? How do I get this magic that abuelita has just so naturally? And at its core and at its essence, for me, this poem is about a grandmother's love and its power to deeply change us in ways that we've only really come to understand as adults. At least I've come to see them more clearly as an adult. And it's also about the love of all the generations of women that came before us, and that Lorena did also an incredible job illustrating that idea in one of the panels in the book. And the women that have nourished us in so many ways.
Yeah, it's really is a beautiful. I'm imagining all sorts of conversations can happen as we're curled up with our kids reading My Abuela Is A Bruja. What kind of conversations do you hope families have?
So for me, the power of reading is the power of bringing people together. When stories, writing, reading have a magic on its own, essentially it's the only time when we can truly abide in somebody else's imagination and somebody else's world that another person has created for us. So in that there's an act of deep intimacy that I feel we can share as parents, as children, as abuelitos, grandparents reading to their grandkids. We feel when we share a book, we feel less lonely. I mean, that's why book clubs are so popular, because they bring people together around a shared idea, around a shared book. And it's just reading is such an extraordinary act in and of itself. I hope one of my favorite benefits of reading is developing long life connections between the children and the parents, between the children and the teachers and librarians. It's a moment in this busy world, in our busy lives. It's a moment where we stop. We stop and we pause and we enjoy and we savor the words, and we abide in the quiet in between those words.
Mm-hmm.
And we pause to tell each other things in between those sentences, in the moment that it takes to turn a page, to breathe together, to be side by side. And we need more of that. We need more of those quiet, introspective moments. And as I'm sure you know, Jed, children whose parents read them stories every day, I mean, the reading of it has an effect for the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Reading comprehension, thinking, understanding, processing information, intelligence, attention spans, memory. This is all tied to literacy. Nothing has as big of an impact in a child's life than reading, than the power to read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And as you're talking about those opportunities to be quiet between words and to, maybe just take some time to look at the pages, I'm realizing that we kids don't have the opportunity to experience what you experience and what I experience, to sit down and spend an afternoon in the kitchen with our grandmothers and learning. And you're speaking and you're chopping and you're learning, and that person that you love so much is giving you so much attention. These days, kids' lives are so programmed and we're so busy and there's so many screens. We just don't have the opportunity that happened naturally in generations past to be together and just be together. Mm-hmm. and that true sense. And I think reading is one of the last and best ways that we can give that to our kids.
Yeah, that's so true, Jed. And reading and free play.
Mm-hmm.
We were growing up, I was so lucky. I grew up in a farm. I grew up in my grandparents' farm, and we were kind of, we were let out. We were outside playing, my sister and me and my cousins, and we would create our own rules. We would create our own world. We would figure things out, right, mm-hmm. amongst ourselves. And I think that was critical in helping us navigate the world as adults. That those moments of just letting kids be kids and just letting them abide in the world and sort out the rules of the world in their own way. One of the things that I'm hoping to do with this book is I have events, a lot of story times scheduled and school visits, and I want to bring a little bit that to the classrooms and the bookstores and bring the magic of the book to the kids there, have moments of dancing salsa with abuelita, using musical instruments to create music, do a little seed planting activity so that the kids can see how a seed grows from just like a little seed to a plant. So I'm working on bringing these opportunities tied to the story and to the book. So kids just can have fun, just be kids, have fun, and not live in these structured worlds. We're overly structured. We're living overly structured lives, and that doesn't allow room for creativity and for imagination. Yeah. I mean, we need time to stare at the clouds. We need time to stargaze. We need time to think about nothing, to do nothing. We need time to just sit and breathe and contemplate and think about something beautiful, to savor a line of poetry, or to try a new little bizcochito at the pastry store. And just to enjoy.
Yeah. Before we hit record, you were telling me that you shared the book and also earlier the poem that turned into this book with your grandmother. Talk about her experience when she heard the poem first and then saw the poem come to life in the pages of the book.
Okay, so I'm going to try not to cry, which is going to be really hard. So I'm very close, obviously, to my abuelita. I've dedicated a whole book to her. She just turned 90 this summer. And her and I are very, very close. And this poem, part of the magic is that it came to me fully formed in a dream. I woke up at 2 a.m. and the words were in my mind. And I got out of bed because the poem just kept repeating itself in my mind. And I'm like, I have to write this down, because if I don't write it down, when I wake up, I'm going to forget. So I got up at 2 a.m. and I wrote it down. And the published version, it's very close to what I wrote down. Very little change. So on a trip to Puerto Rico, after the book had sold, I brought the words to Abuelita, and I was like, Abuelita, I wrote this poem. It was for you. And she, it is sold and it's going to be a book, but I want you to read it. I want you to be the first to hear me say it aloud. So we were sitting on her front porch, which you can watch in the video. We're out there drinking a little cafecito in her front porch with a hamaca. And I'm reading the words to her. And when I'm done, she's like, where did those words come from? She's like, do you just have this imagination? Like, she was in awe. Like, she couldn't comprehend that she had inspired this beautiful poem, and the imagination where those words had been born out of, right? From mind, from love. Mm-hmm. And then recently I had the incredible gift of bringing the book to her and presenting her the book in Spanish, because the book's coming out. I did the translation for the Spanish version of the book, so it's available both in English and in Spanish. And I brought her the Spanish book so she could see it. And there's a picture of her in the back of the book so she could see that it is for her. Her picture is there and she's now famous. And I just cried. I cried giving this gift back to her because she had given me so much.
Beautiful.
And this was, I was trying to capture everything that she had meant in my life as a child, and which now I appreciate as an adult. And it was just beautiful. It was this moment of deep connection and deep love and deep appreciation for each other. And, families are wild. None of us are perfect. Mm-hmm. But it was wonderful just to take a moment of gratitude, of deep gratitude and admiration to this woman who had worked so hard. I mean, she was a farmer in a time where women weren't supposed to be farmers. She had fed me, she had nourished me, she had loved me. And I am the woman that I am in part because of her.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. And she didn't mind being called a witch.
We call her Brujita. We call each other Bruja. I mean, it's such a powerful word, Jed. The Brujas are the women who heal. Mm-hmm. They're the women who capture the magic of intuition. They're the women who carry stories, who believe in the divine power of the feminine, and bring that spirituality and that intuition to daily life. So that is something that we need to celebrate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. The book is beautiful. I love the sentiment. I really thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your memory of sharing this poem with your grandmother in the book, of course. You've written books for older kids. This is your debut children's picture book. the moment that you wrote at 2:00 in the morning, you wrote that poem, did you know it was going to become a children's picture book, or did you think, well, maybe I can do something with an older audience with this?
Yes. So, as you said, I have 2 young adult novels that are already published. One is Salty Bittersweet, that came out 2 weeks before the lockdown and the pandemic. And the other one is Does My Body Offend You, which I co-wrote with my dear friend Mayra Cuevas, and which was longlisted for the Penn Faulkner Award. I also have an adult romance novel that's coming out next year. So I officially write for all ages. So when this poem formed in my mind, I got out of bed and my only intention was to write it down. I did not know what it was going to be at the time. I just knew it was powerful and that it had come to me as a gift. And I needed to write it down. I just felt that deep urge, that deep intuition to just write down these words. And then in the morning after I'd slept, I went back and I read what I had written, and it felt special. It felt like there was something there that was special. And I cleaned it up and I sent it to my agent, Sarisa Hernandez at Andrea Brown Literary Agency. And I said, Sarisa, do you think there's something here? And she shared it with the other agents at the agency, and everybody was like, yes. We love this. This is beautiful. It could definitely be a picture book. And they gave me some feedback. So I worked on some edits based on the feedback. And then it went out on submission, and we had a 5-house auction for this book. So it sold in a 5-house auction to Penguin Random House.
That's wonderful. Tell me, this was such a deeply personal poem. Was it difficult for you to have an illustrator tell part of the story for you?
No, because I can't illustrate to save my life. I can do a stick figure. That's about it. So I knew going into the picture book world that I would have to trust the work of an illustrator. And part of the beauty of picture books is the mind of 2 creatives coming together in one story. You have a person, and sometimes they are the same person, sometimes they're not. But most times you have a person who wrote the words and an illustrator who is interpreting those words into art, into illustration. So you're marrying the beauty of reading and story with art in one gorgeous book. And, Saritza, my agent, was reminding me on Tuesday when the book came out that she's like, you told me you wanted to work with an illustrator where all the art you could frame and put it up in your office. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so true. And Lorena did that beautifully. You can pull any page from this book, frame it, and put it up in your home because it's just so stunning, just absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I agree. We should tell everybody where they can go to find out more about My Abuela Is A Bruja, find out more about you and everything that's coming from your imagination.
So, My Abuela Es A Bruja, Mi Abuela Es Una Bruja en español, is available wherever books are sold. Remember to please support your independent booksellers. You can find the videos with my abuelita if you want to know more about me and where the book is set on my website, mayracuevas.com. I am also on Instagram, and the link is to my Instagram page is on my website. And there's also the events, storytime events that are coming up. I have events in Atlanta, in Puerto Rico, and in New York, and through the month of November, actually now. Yeah, so please reach out. I love connecting with educators, with librarians. If there's any way that I can support the amazing work that you do, I'm here.
Awesome. We've had a really great time speaking to the author of My Abuela Is A Bruja. Our guest has been Mayra Cuevas. Mayra, thanks so much for being on Reading with Your Kids.
Thank you so much, Jed. I really appreciate it. And for the writers who are listening, I also co-founded the Latinx Storytellers Conference. So if you're Latinx and you're a writer and you want to write your own picture book, we have our big national event coming up in September 12th to the 13th, and you're all invited.
And where is that going to be, and where can people find out more?
In New York at Scholastic's headquarters, and the website is latinxstorytellersconference.com.
Awesome. Hey, my friends, I have a super idea you are going to love. How about this weekend, turn your backyard cookout into a storybook celebration. Fire up the grill, crack open a few of your favorite picture books, and serve up Big Fork Brand's legendary bacon sausage. Made with nitrate-free bacon and premium pork, it's juicy, smoky, and unforgettable. Top it off with Big Fork's spicy Chicago fire sauce, and you've got a meal as bold as the characters in your favorite bedtime tale. Get 20% off your order using the promo code READ at bigforkbrands.com. That's bigforkbrands.com. Promo code READ to get 20% off, because nothing brings families together like great food, great books, and a whole lot of flavor. Big Fork Brands. Read, grill, repeat. Are you looking for a creative way to bond with your kids? Let me tell you all about Drawing with Your Kids, the ultimate destination for artistic adventures. Join us as we dive into the wonderful world of children's books with renowned illustrators guiding you step by step. From beloved characters to whimsical scenes, unleash your imagination and create cherished memories together. Whether you're a seasoned artist or just picking up a pencil, there's something for everyone at Drawing with Your Kids. Please visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com, and click on the Drawing with Your Kids link at the top of the page and let the creativity flow. Drawing with Your Kids, where every stroke brings stories to life. Joining us right now from beautiful Port Jefferson in Long Island, our guest is here today to celebrate her beautiful picture book. It's called I Hear the Snow, I Smell the Sea. Please welcome to the show, Janice Milusich. Janice, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Delighted to have you on. I am curious about the title. Tell everybody all about I Hear the Snow, I Smell the Sea.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, it is a picture book about a young girl exploring the changing seasons, and this young girl is blind. So she's going to be using her senses of hearing, smell, taste, and touch. Mostly, not taste so much, but throughout the book, it's hearing, smell, and touch that she expresses how she explores the seasons. And the way she does it is through many different activities that she's engaged with her mom, because it just explores, all the different things that children can learn through incidental learning and firsthand experiences. So beginning with winter, she explores the snow and builds a snowman with her mother, rolling the snowballs from, small and medium and big, and then stacking them up, finding the different accessories to make her snow friend, give the snow friend a face and clothing because it's cold out, she says. And then from winter, we go into spring, where she explores the garden and all the different flowers that she smells, the different sounds that she hears from robins singing and bees buzzing. And then into the summer, where she explores firsthand with her mother the shoreline and wading into the ocean and then floating weightless in the water with her mom. And then finally in the fall, where she explores the fall leaves and builds, heaps a pile of leaves with her mom, and then gets to do the famous jump into it and, crash into it, which all children, actually adults, love too, I think. So that's the main part of it, is just exploring the seasons and just to express to children who are visually impaired or blind that they're represented in a way that shows that how well they use their senses and how rich it is that their experience. And it also demonstrates how important that incidental firsthand experience is for all children to build a concept development, as well as just get a greater understanding of the world around them.
Yeah.
But most importantly for children who don't have the vision or are visually impaired, because without that, they don't get the wholeness of an activity or a concept. Like, say, for instance, if a child who has a visual impairment or is blind and they hear somebody say, oh, a puppy, how cute, or a kitten, how cute, they kind of get that sense, oh, it's going to be nice. But it's quite different from having a puppy or a kitten in your lap and, feeling the boundless energy, the wet nose of a puppy, or, the mules of a cat, and feeling all the legs and how quickly they move and how they bend, and the tail and the fur, and get all the senses in. That gives them a much greater, richer concept of what a puppy is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The title, I hear the snow, I smell the sea. I think most people can relate to I smell the sea. But I hear the snow. I had an opportunity. I lived in a part of Boston, and I was literally across the street from the beach. And my favorite time to visit the beach was in the winter, in snowstorms, or into snow. And there is a quiet, but also this just wonderful sensation when you're on the beach and it's snowing, and you can actually hear the snowflakes coming down. And we're not talking about a violent storm, but it's just, it's hard to describe, but I can relate to that.
Yes, I think, well, especially, for those of us living in the Northern Hemisphere where there are such differences in the changes of the season, especially, I think many of us from the Northern Hemisphere can understand that sense, like you were mentioning about snow falling, but also before snow falls.
Mm-hmm.
There's cold takes on more than just a temperature.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scent or a lack of scent, if that could explain it. And then it also involves a quietness that is like palpable.
Mm-hmm.
And snow is coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, absolutely. I know many people have said, oh, I can smell it in the air, and
Yeah. What inspired you to write this book, Janice?
Oh, gosh. I've been a teacher for the visually impaired for 30 years or so. And it's all of my students who've taught me throughout the years just to perceive things in a way that I would be able to explain and give them a greater perception of whatever the topic might be. So the inspiration were my students, and the main character in the book, Nevaeh, is an amalgamation of all of those students. I have to say, I'm privileged to be able to work with students that I have now are preschoolers and learn from them every day. I have to say, learn how best to get an idea across, or a perception across, or to give them confidence. We can do this. We can take a next step a little further. So that's what the whole book is really about, is that, there's a child that actually is taking a step further, wants to explore, just like all children, but all children also have those, and adults as well, who have things where you're a little afraid to do it. It's a challenge. Should I do it? I think that's pretty much really where the book came from, was the inspiration about how much I've learned from them, and how exciting it is to see the children make those steps on their own, kind of like with autonomy and independence, to explore the surroundings around them and to learn from it.
Yeah. As you were talking earlier in describing the book and what your main character is going through, and you were talking about building a snowman and rolling the snowman, the base up, and then the next one. And I had this weird thought, and I can understand if somebody is partially visually impaired, how they could understand and get the connection that, I can't see this, but other people can see this in a full way. I understand. I can't see. But somebody that's completely blind, I wonder how if they have a concept of what part of their sense they're missing. I know that sounds silly. I'm making myself, I sound,
No.
but curious.
Well, what I've learned from my students is everybody's vision is typical to them.
Okay.
So, our vision, you and I are both wearing glasses, not that anybody can see us, but we're both wearing glasses. But your vision is completely different from my vision. We see the world in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned like totally blind. Well, that's vision is so individual that
Mm-hmm.
somebody who is legally blind versus someone who has, say, light perception, they're going to be using whatever visual sense they have, as well as their other senses, to get a greater picture. Within the book, I have, and the illustration shows it as well, where the mom is reaching down, and the child is holding usually a finger or a wrist, 2 fingers. When we walk sighted guide with a child who's that small, preschoolers, you would walk sighted guide with your hand towards your side, and they would hold 2 fingers, and they would feel your body move to get the snow to start rolling a snowball, and that's depicted in the text as well as in the illustration by Chris Rajka. And so you would get the sense of, I have to roll it. You kind of get a lump first, and you know how you roll it into bigger and bigger and bigger, and how it continues to kind of stick if it's the right kind of snow.
Yep.
It has to cooperate first.
Yeah. You mentioned that you wrote this to kind of inspire kids with challenges to go out and try difficult things and not be afraid. And we certainly know that it's a wonderful gift for a kid to be able to see themselves depicted positively in the pages of a book. But I love the fact that I hear the snow, I smell the sea would be a great window for kids who aren't challenged by visual impairment to see how their peers, how their friends might be perceiving the world, and help them have a little bit more empathy and understanding of their classmates or neighbors.
Yes, actually, that's true. I guess that was part and parcel in my whole idea, because a lot of times I will go in and I will push into the classroom. Often, if a child is a Braille learner, so we're working on. For preschool, we're working on the fundamentals of them using their fine motor skills and getting to Braille. But again, often I have students that are peers that are excited. Miss Jan brought in the Brailler, and they want to scribble just as much as their peer is. So I usually have the student teach their peer a little bit about the Braille, a little bit about the keys, and get an chance to experience that. But yes, I think empathy is true, but also I want children or the peers of my students to also see the competence.
Yeah.
And the autonomy. They're just as capable.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've had people on from the government and the National Library, and the advances in aids to help people with visual impairments read and get access to information is really amazing. Technology. This is one area where technology is really a gift.
It is, but there is also the importance of Braille being available, because that is where literacy is going to come through. The audio is great, and it does help actually everybody, but you're not going to learn spelling from that, and you're not going to. Right. Yeah.
Right. But I was mentioning, I was learning that there are machines that come out now that, about as big as a cell phone, where the Braille letter will pop up, kind of like, when you're reading a teletype and there's letters going across the page. Same thing with Braille. The kids can feel the letters going underneath their hand. And I'm just kind of blown away by all this, how we can use technology to make the world more accessible for folks.
That's true. Yeah, it is true. Braille note takers, yeah, and they Yeah, they're really cool, and they go so quickly, and the children, just like any technology, they have it like on top of us, like really quick.
Yeah. Now, tell me, when you were telling me that you've been teaching kids for decades,
Yeah.
when you're in college, was that your goal to specifically work with kids with visual impairments, or were you just want to be a teacher and this is where you ended up?
Oh, actually, I was always working from actually high school on. I worked in town of Oyster Bay. They had a camp, and I would always work the summer camps for kids who had disabilities, and also with adult children, and parents would give them respite. They were called respite nights. So I started that in high school, and then I volunteered at Helen Keller National Center, which is in Sands Point on Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
And the individuals there are deaf and blind, and it's like a vocational school where they go to learn how to live more independently.
Yeah.
And so that was my first foray into really working with individuals with visual impairments or blindness. And I went to St. John's for special education. That was the year that I had available to me. And then from there, I went on to Hunter, specifically for to work with students that were visually impaired.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Yeah. And I believe this is your third book?
I think it's let's see, one, two, this actually fifth. One of them was an ebook, so I don't know if that quite counts, but I guess it does.
We love all media that's created. Well, we don't love all media, but we count everything. Do all of your books, do they all touch on folks with visual impairment?
No, this one I had written, I had started at the preschool that I'm at now. I've been there now about 17 years. And I met a student, and her name was Nevaeh, which I thought was a beautiful name. And that's, I took that part of it, because it's actually heaven spelled backwards. Yeah. So I always love that. And so that kept in the back of my mind. And just, working with preschoolers, it's, you get to play. Mm-hmm. For them to learn, they have to laugh. So you have to play. You have to be a good player. And so that's kind of where it came about. And I just, it just felt very natural for me. I had an affinity for it. And so the story I wrote, oh my goodness, let's see, like close to 15 years ago, I would say. But it didn't find its right time until now. So.
Awesome. Well, we're certainly happy that it found its right time. One of the things I love to do, because my beautiful wife was a special needs teacher for 34 years. She retired a couple years back. And of course, she loved teaching, but there are certainly some issues. And all the authors who are also teachers who've come on the show have said, there's a lot of challenges facing teachers. So I was wondering, if I were to give you this magic wand, and because I can make anything into a magic wand. But if I was to give you this magic wand and say, wave it and fix whatever it is that needs fixing in schools, what would be the thing that you'd look to fix?
Oof. Communication.
Between
everyone.
Between families and teachers.
All of the above, actually.
All of the above.
Yeah, really, really having that, that access and the back and forth. That's one of the things I love to do. I'm an itinerant teacher for the visually impaired. Many teachers of the visually impaired are itinerants. They travel from school to school. Mm-hmm. My particular situation is different working in a preschool, so I work in 2 different centers, but you travel. But as such, I have the freedom versus a classroom teacher to contact the parents every time I see their student or their child, and let them know what we've done, maybe what they, if they've done it at home, if they could work on this because we're having a little difficulty, that is so special, because then you can also see, the child knows that, you're talking to mommy and daddy, and they're, going to help me too. And we can kind of compare notes, and everybody's on the same page. I think if everybody was on the same page, from administration to teachers to teacher assistants to aides, that would make it so much better. Actually, communication pretty much, if we had more communication everywhere, that would make it better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You were mentioning that you oftentimes will have kids who aren't challenged by visual impairment working with your kids. That's something I did way, way back in 1989. I was working at a school for kids with severe developmental disabilities. And it was my job to bring these kids out into the community, give them opportunities to develop friendships and relationships with kids without disabilities. And I think the school hired me because the idea of integration was just starting to be spoken about. Mm-hmm. And I think the school hired this dopey guy who wanted to be a clown because they said, well, let's put this idea to bed. Let's find somebody that's going to run this program into the ground. It's going to fail. And then we'll have our kids in our hospital setting. And it turned out to be a huge success, not because of me, but because of the fact that the kids, the quote unquote typical kids that we were introducing to our students were so enthusiastic about it. They just loved the idea of getting to know somebody who was different. And these kids were very different. And it was a huge success to the point where 3 or 4 years after the program was proven to be successful, that hospital school closed, and the kids were all integrated back into their home districts.
Yeah, that is great.
Yeah.
That is great. Yeah, the preschool that I work at, preschools, it's an integrated, most of it's an integrated setting. Actually, yes, it is pretty much all of it. But it's a special education preschool. So when I go into a classroom, there might be a student that I'm working with, obviously with a visual impairment, but there might be other students within that classroom who are on the spectrum, mm-hmm. or ADHD or whatever their particular disability is, whatever their needs are. And what is so heartening is that the kids are all accepting, mm-hmm. and they are generous. They teach us so much, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. We should tell everybody where they can go to find out more about I Hear the Snow, I Smell the Sea, and find out more about you.
Okay, great. Yes. Well, my website is janmillusich.com, www.janmillusich.com. And the book is available for pre-order right now. You can find that on my website, but it is also available for pre-order through all the sites, bookshop.org, Books A Million, Target and Walmart and Amazon and Barnes & Noble. So you can find it anywhere.
Wonderful. We've had a great time speaking to the author of I Hear the Snow, I Smell the Sea. Our guest has been Janice Milusich. Jan, thanks so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Reading with Your Kids and will join us for the next exciting episode of the show. Please be sure to connect with us on social media, facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, @readingwithyourkids on Instagram, and @JedleyMagic on X. We have a great YouTube channel, youtube.com/readingwithyourkids. That's where you can find all of our Drawing with Your Kids videos. We'd also love for you to check out our website, readingwithyourkids.com. If you're an author, please be sure to visit readingwithyourkids.com and click on that author's Click Here link at the top of the page to find out how you can be a guest. Being a guest, it's fun, it's easy, and it gives you the chance to tell thousands of Kidlet fans all about your great children's book. You can also learn about our very effective and very affordable promotional services. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful, starting with our guest, Mayra Cuevas. Please be sure to check out My Abuela Is A Bruja, and Janice Milusich. Please be sure to check out I Hear the Snow, I Smell the Sea. Want to thank our sponsors, BigForkBrands.com, CozyEarth.com, and Zebo.life. Use our promo code READ at checkout at those great sites. You can save big, and we could earn a small commission. Want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Chris Doherty, El Glassman, Dante Greco, I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me, but most of all, we all want to thank you. You are making it happen. You are an amazing person, and you are making the world a better place every time you read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.